The Seattle Seahawks defense put the clamps on Drake May and the New England Patriots for 3 quarters in Super Bowl 60, and they let Kenneth Walker do the rest, on the way to a fairly easy second NFL championship. We'll talk about that with you this morning. And is it too early to go through next year's odds? Of course it isn't. We're going to do that. Speaking of next year, some of you may want to close your ears for a second, but a former Saints quarterback, you know, the one who wore number 4. No, not Steve Walsh. The other guy y'all can't stand. Okay, I guess I got to say it. Derek Carr. Derek Carr might be coming back. We will have some fun with that this morning. Well, we're going to have fun with lots of stuff because today is the season 5 finale of the Dattitude podcast, and it's up next.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Are y'all ready to finish off 5 seasons of this thing? Oh, my goodness. Did we really go through 5 seasons? It's amazing that we made it. We have made it. This is Dattitude, episode number 474, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, February the 9th, 2026. It is indeed the season 5 finale of the show, which started way back in September of 2021 with Stan Verrett and I on a Zoom call with no one watching, and I have no video saved of it whatsoever. You can go find the audio-only version if you would like to listen. You know where our podcast sits. You can go find. I know you can find it on Apple, and of course, where our host site, which is StreamYard. So if you are so inclined, and during our mini break coming up, if you want to go find episode number 1 and listen to it, I did that a few months back. I started listening to it, and I kind of cringed. You know, even though I had some experience doing shows, it's nothing like, nothing like you start doing about 474, you pretty much can do a show with your eyes closed and your ears closed. Can't do it with your mouth closed because then you can't talk. But I don't know. Maybe we could do it. Gabe, you want to do a sign language show one day? Maybe we could do it. No, I guess not. Anyway, so when you close your eyes and you finish 5 seasons of a show that you started kind of on a whim, that's what this was. I mean, at the time, going back in the day, I was doing bet.nola.com, working for the mothership. And speaking of the mothership, I see that I noticed it this morning. It took them a little while, but they finally erased every mention of Dattitude on their bet.nola.com page. It only took them, let's see, November, December, January. We're in 3.5 months. I mean, that's because I think someone, like the first person in 3.5 months besides me, actually went to the bet.nola.com page. That's probably what happened. Not to shade the mothership or anything, but you know what I mean. So, but that's episode number 1 with Stan Verrett and I, and maybe I'll have Stan back on. He's independent now as well. Lots have changed since Stan Verrett and I did that show way back when. Think about September of 2021 when we started this show. Sean Payton was still the coach of the New Orleans Saints. I mean, that's to think about that. Drew Brees had just retired a few months before, and Sean Payton was about to start his final season as coach of the New Orleans Saints. And, maybe I should go back and listen to see I don't even remember how we started how we covered the Sean Payton leaving. I mean, I remember talking about it. I just don't remember how we covered it here on Dattitude. So I'm going to have to go back and check that out. I'm sure Jeff Duncan was on, as he was for many of the early episodes. If the episodes only had double digits or into the early hundreds, Jeff Duncan was on a lot of those, and he was on for 2 years. He was my regular Friday guest before the Saints insiders started their own thing. All right, let's get rolling here. You know who I am. I'm Jim Derry again. I rattle on sometimes. I just did, but I like to go back into the past. We may go back into the past a little bit today. We'll see what happens. We're also going to go into the future. 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. We're not going to go back 35 years, I promise you. But what is on today's show? We're going to spend, maybe it'll be half and half. Who knows? We're going to spend, obviously, time talking about the Seahawks stuffing the Patriots and very misleading numbers for Drake May when you look at it. He finished 27 of 43 for 295 yards. Very, very misleading. We'll tell you why in just a minute. So that's coming up. We'll also talk about, we have futures odds for next year's Super Bowl. And not only that, some of you will be wanting to know, we have division. They put the division odds out this morning. So there's a very weird quirk in these odds. And I'm telling you right now, if you want to bet on your New Orleans Saints, now is the time. Really, there are multiple teams. There are probably some value. And we'll go through some of the odds later on what's up for next year. That's coming up. And of course, close your ears, Lance Dobard. When I say the following, yep, we're going to talk about the potential of Derek Carr talking about on his podcast that he is floating the. I mean, no one listens. Well, someone listened to it. It's funny because if you go to NOLA.com, speaking of the mothership, it's funny because Matthew Paris writes about Derek Carr possibly coming out of retirement. And the lead is this. This is how funny I find this. Now, tell me if you know where I'm going with this. It says, quote, Derek Carr has repeatedly teased the idea of coming out of retirement on his podcast. Now, the former Saints quarterback may actually do it, according to a new report from NFL Network. I mean, this tells me that no one's really watching the podcast because this is the first I'm hearing of it. He's repeatedly teased the idea of coming out of retirement. How come this is the first that I'm hearing it? We'll talk about that. We've got to talk about it. I know some of you hate when I mention that name, and I'm going to go back to the title slide here in case you didn't see it. I did this just for you, Lance. It's Derek Carr coming back to the NFL. But we didn't say Derek Carr. I know how much so I wouldn't type it in at least. There you go. What is special about our show before we get to some of the comments and before we get to some of the news of the day outside of football? You know how we do it here, especially on a Mono-y Monday. It is the season 5 finale, but that doesn't change the fact that it's Mono-y Monday. You talk to us, we talk back to you. We're usually live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're taking a little break after today at 11 a.m. Central Time. Although I'm not going to be completely gone because I have plenty of shorts lined up in the queue to be interspersed while we're gone. So that we won't be completely gone. We have some highlights from some very pertinent. We got one. I know for sure there's one talking about Paris and why I completely dislike the whole Paris idea. And it's not just because the Saints are going to Paris. We have a couple other ones. Zach and I had some really good conversations this past week, and I'm going to put that in some shorts. So some things that don't necessarily have a time element to it. We're going to put those up while we're gone. Who knows? Maybe something from today will be in there. But you will hear from us while we're out. And just to let you know, programming note, I originally was going to come back on Friday, February the 20th. I have changed that. I've got something going on the end of Mardi Gras week, and I don't know how long it's going to last. So to be safe, I'm just going to take we're going to take a 2-week hiatus. So even though I won't be off for 2 weeks because I will be working some throughout Mardi Gras, I will take off. I'm taking off from Friday through Tuesday. But before that and after that, I will be working some. So the next show after today will be 2 weeks from today. The season 6 premiere will be on Monday, February the 23rd, I believe. So that's when we'll be back after today. And you know how to find us. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We would love for you to subscribe. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. And give us a like. The last time you can give us a like live for 2 weeks. Also, you can find us on the major podcast platforms I told you earlier. Get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email jim@jimderry.com. And also, if you would like to monetarily support our independent venture, you can become a Dattitude member. Also coming up as a Dattitude member, we're going to start. I'm about to change some graphics up. All the Dattitude members, beginning 2 weeks from today, I'm going to run on the crawl. until I can't fit them all anymore. If you're become a Dattitude member and you support the channel beginning 2 weeks from today, you will have your name running across the bottom of the screen throughout the show because we're going to start running crawls. Again, I'm going to change up some of these graphics so they're not so intrusive. We won't have headlines anymore, probably. We will have our sponsors on the page and maybe how to get in touch with me. And every now and then we'll have a chart or something to show. And that's going to be it. So we're going to take some of the words off the screen. All right. Also, members, while I'm gone, last thing before I get to business here, I am, y'all know that I'm a big Mardi Gras guy. If you're a regular, I am in the crew of Endymion. All members of the Dattitude YouTube page, if you go to our Slack channel, I will give you a tip and let you know where I'm going to be riding in the parade if you want to come tell me hello. I'm not going to shout it out to the world here on Dattitude, but I will do that. So as Gabe says, please be sure to be a member so you can stay up to date. I will be in the Slack channel while I'm out as well. So Gabe will be updating the Slack channel. He'll be in there multiple times per day, probably while we're gone. I will be checking it daily as well. So that's part of the perks of becoming a member. All right, before we get to some of the comments and some other things, I got some other news before we get to the Super Bowl. Let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. I am so grateful to my friends there because they have been a sponsor of the show. They have been the title sponsor of the show almost 2 years. 2 years ago, April, they became the title sponsor of the show. They came along with me as an independent, and I'm so grateful for my friend Nick Braden. And let me tell you about him. Of course, Evangeline is a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, if it's someone you know, someone you love, someone you say, I just want to help them. It's time to reach out to, as I said, the aforementioned founder of Evangeline Securities, founding partner Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. You will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? We'll fill you in later in the show before Gabe comes on. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Speaking of checking out, also check out my friend Joe. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all, and with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. All right, let's get this show on the road. What kind of comments we got this morning before we get to our title slide? UBN is first. Good morning. He's so happy to have you know who talked today. Of course he is. Apathy, you are 100% right. Will Campbell got completely dominated last night. Absolutely true. He got blasted. Kelvin Banks gave up one pressure. Now, I have not verified this, so I'm showing your comment here. It could be true. It might not be true. I'm assuming it is. But Kelvin Banks, I know Kelvin Banks played better than Will Campbell did against Seahawks. Kelvin Banks gave up one pressure versus them in a week 3 blowout. Saints drafted the best tackle in the 2025 draft. I agree, even though Gabe says Membu was better. I think if you go and look at a lot of the redrafts, Banks is the first tackle off the board in a lot of them. Just saying. What else we got going on here this morning? St. Louis Obispo, who dat? Good morning. Looking forward to a great discussion post-Super Bowl. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about this morning. What's up, Rock? Glad you're here. Glad you are here, Rocky, for sure. What else I can't wait to get to some of these. Phil Mariani, Super Bowl is expected. Maybe as you expected. I will say this, Phil. I'm going to get to this when we get to just Super Bowl talk. If you go back and watch the clip when the Pick'em crew got in and we all started talking, I think we all agreed. Nick and I, Gabe is the only one who got the spread right. But if you go back and listen to the analysis of Gabe, Nick, and myself, We were almost dead on the way we said. You could say whatever you want, but go back and listen to about 10 minutes of conversation. I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. Gary says Seattle was clearly the best team in the NFL this year. There's no question that at least the final month and a half, I don't think they were the best team all year, but the last month and a half, maybe 2 months, there's zero question they were the best team. Zero question they were the best team. Rocky also says, why wouldn't DC come back to the NFL? His retirement was as much a sham as Sean Payton's was. I don't think I agree with that. Y'all probably not gonna agree with me today. I'm just gonna say I'm not necessarily gonna take up for him, but if you don't think he was really hurt and he gave money back just to give money back, yeah, I think you're wrong. Just saying. I mean, he had no reason to do some of the things he did. Just saying. If he wanted to come back and play, I'm sure the Saints would have facilitated his departure somewhere else. Either way, Carr's going to get what he wants, and the Saints are going to get something out of it too. If Carr comes back, the Saints he's going to have to be traded because the Saints own his rights. Apathy hopes Carr comes back. Every Saints fan should cheer it on. He gets to get destroyed by Micah Parsons before Parsons hurts himself again. What if they don't play Green Bay? I guess. UBN's, oh yeah, man. This Kenneth Walker minus 190 touchdown bettors. You know who you are. You were screaming and hollering there at the end of the game, and whoops, there's a flag on the play. That flag allowed me. I'm going to tell you why that was so important for the Pick'em crew. Like, seriously, that was a momentous call for the Pick'em crew, and none of us had anything to do with Kenneth Walker. I will tell you why in just a little minute coming up. Good morning, Daryl Hayden. Jerry. Yep. He's got some mad emojis. I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute. Whenever you bring up the name. Remember Steve Walsh wore number 4? Lance is here. I stole your emojis with the expletives written across their face. Yes, I did. Lance. You can't call him worthless. You could call him lots of things, Lance. But if he's worthless, no one's going to trade for him. So you better hope he's not worthless. Just saying. Kyle, good morning, Kyle Sherman. Congrats on 5 seasons of Dattitude. Thank you so much. Sometimes it's hard to believe. No, not sometimes. It's always hard to believe. What's going on, Cannon? How are you? Cannon McGee is here. Thank you. Earl's Picks. Hell yeah, trade Carr. Get any draft assets we can. Of course. Trade him. Get rid of him. All right, we got some more comments. I'm going to get to them in a minute because I'm about to change my slide here. But I want to talk a little bit about 2 other things this morning. Neither one of them are really pleasant. I want to mention it because I think it's one of the most brutal injuries I've seen in sports over the course of the last, year or 2. Chelsea Lindsey Vonn's crash. You got to feel for, look, 41 years old and still doing her thing. 41 years old, and I'm assuming that her torn ACL had nothing to do with her injury. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea. But I thought it was crazy that she was coming. When I heard she tore, okay, well, she's done. No, she's not done. But she did whatever she could. She got back and she competed. And then I think it was 13 seconds into her final downhill run as an Olympic skier. Man, she didn't just take a tumble. But she's in stable condition. She had to be airlifted. Broke her leg, right, Gabe? It was a broken leg. Yeah. Anyway, the worst part of it from someone that was just watching, and I didn't see it till late last night, is to hear her writhing in pain. And, the fall is bad enough and you're looking at, oh, my goodness. No, but to hear her writhing in pain was just awful. Prayers go out to Lindsey Vonn. And kudos to her as well for even getting out there. And at 41 years old, they say that she's going to have some issues going forward. So, Jerry, did I get your email on Friday? I did. Thank you so much. And I have not had time to go to the page, but I promise that I will. I promise I'm going to go to your page, and the Dattitude podcast will be subscribing to Jerry's page. Jerry, y'all go out and help out our friend Jerry. Go subscribe to his page as well. And then lastly, before we get to just Super Bowl here, I'm sure y'all saw this. I'm not making fun of this whatsoever. This is not funny. I know there are a lot of fans of our most hated rival that are not happy as well, but Falcons linebacker James Pierce facing up to 10 years in prison for 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon on a law enforcement officer. That is a first-degree felony in the state of Florida. He was fleeing. And what's apparently what stemmed for it is alleged domestic violence concerns and then stalking. His career could legitimately be done. And, I went back and before the game yesterday, I was looking at some social media posts and, lots of fans who weren't Falcons fans basically saying, you were warned, Atlanta. There were a lot of teams that had him completely off their radar, and because of concerns such as this. And it goes to show you, and look, I'm not making light of this whatsoever, and I don't want anyone else to. But when we talk about Sean Payton's formula for not just chemistry, but character in the locker room, and some players come in and they don't fit, and he exiles them. I'm not mentioning any names. You know who they are. But if they come in here and they don't fit his scheme, and first of all, he's got to think you fit his scheme character-wise before he'll even bring you in. That's one of the things that I always thought was important in a locker room. That is always important in a locker room. You could be the most talented player on planet Earth, but if you don't fit a character mold, in my opinion, and people say, well, people deserve a second chance. Well, sure they do. Absolutely. They deserve lots of times they deserve third chances. People make mistakes. But it's not just that. If you have a certain mold for character-wise, and you go back in time and look at the Saints and who fits the mold. You look at some of the big-time players for the Saints. You don't even have to go far back. You don't have to go back at all. Who are the 2 biggest character guys that you would say are Saints right now, or at least for the time being? I'd say probably Cameron Jordan, and give 3 guys. Let's make it a tie. Cameron Jordan, Alvin Kamara, Demario Davis, and if you want to put a 4th and put Taysom Hill in there, all guys who could be going after this year, probably keep at least one of them. They're not only fantastic players, but they're all huge character guys. And so when you're talking about having a successful franchise, is this part of the reason why Atlanta hasn't been successful? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just, coincidence that they haven't been successful. Maybe they've just been poorly coached and poorly run. Maybe it's a combination of a lot of things. Maybe the Saints got away from what they were trying to do. Maybe they just stunk. I don't know. All sorts of things. But if you look at the teams who consistently win, it's not a coincidence. But look, I hope James Pierce. I wish the best for him. And this is no joke whatsoever. I hope he gets his stuff together. I hope he figures it out. I hope that if he does escape, I don't think he's going to escape jail time. But if he does escape at least this 10 years, that one day maybe he can come back to the NFL and hopefully he can get it together. I really do. I wish the best for him. But again, you can compare careers, you can compare teams, and it's why it worked for the good coaches. And sometimes it just doesn't work in the NFL when you don't do that. Let's switch modes and talk about Super Bowl now. Again, I'm going to go through some of these comments, and I know they're not all going to be comments about the game. Let's see here what we got. Ooh, okay, first one's about Derek Carr. William talking about Derek Carr's comeback will only benefit the Saints. I think a mid-round pick is a realistic possibility. Absolutely. I think that is a realistic possibility. From what I've been seeing, fourth-round pick, a possibility. And look, you look at some of the teams that could be desperate. What teams are going to be desperate for a quarterback? I can tell you right off the bat, one of them is going to be Minnesota. And I mean, that's why Phil, I guess, was talking about whoever it was. I was talking about Micah Parsons earlier. I mean, if he goes to Minnesota, could absolutely be a landing spot for him. Gabe says Jets, Vikings, and Cardinals are the three leading candidates. Oh, man, don't go. Ugh. If y'all want to wish bad on Derek Carr, have him go to Arizona. Although, and I'm not comparing him to this guy. Don't yell at me. Kurt Warner went there, worked. Just saying. Lance is saying Will Campbell is not an NFL left tackle, not long enough, quick enough, or twitchy enough. Love his attitude, work ethics. I'm going to say this, and to go kind of along with Phil saying, don't forget he's a rookie who will improve. He wasn't very good this year, period. Okay? If you go back and look at what he's done throughout the course of the year, they kind of masked him to some degree. They had an entire left side of their line were two rookies. And one of the things from last night that surprised me, and it was not part of Josh McDaniels' game plan, and Gabe and UBN and I were talking about this in a text thread, was why didn't they begin to, I don't understand why Drake May wasn't rolling out. At some point, you can't just sit there and say, I'm going to get stuffed. I mean, the clock's got to go off in your head, that internal clock, and it really concerns me if you're watching. I'm going to be honest. I saw part of every New England game this year. But as far as like sitting down and actually watching the Patriots play, maybe 6-7 games. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, I promise. 8 games? Yeah, I did not. I promise that was an accident. Oh, boy. But when you talk about Drake May, his clock's got to go off. He's got to get out of the pocket. Maybe he just didn't see the pressure. I know Denver gave him a lot of pressure, but we told you, and again, I'm going to go back to what Gabe, UBN, and I said in our analysis on Friday, and I'm not patting ourselves in the back because, frankly, I was 1-2 against the spread this week and was one Kenneth Walker touchdown/holding call away from going 0-3. I mean, that would have been if you lost that under last night. That you want to talk about brutal beats? That would have been a brutal beat if you lost that under. So justice was served to some extent. But Drake May, first of all, McDaniels made no adjustments. And then Drake May didn't make any adjustments. You have got to get out of the pocket. You cannot sit there and continue to get pounded over and over again. And New England's defense played fantastic ball. It's what we said. We thought it would be a field goal game. Gabe told you the over-under for combined field goals was 3.5. And they had that done. They had 3 at halftime and then another one, I think, early at least midway through the third quarter. Myers did them all by himself. It was 12-0. But, Drake May he looked like a rookie again last night. I take nothing away from Seattle. Seattle's defense was fantastic. I take nothing away from what they were able to do. But Drake May looked like a rookie last night. Absolutely. Good morning, Joe. A lackluster Super Bowl. I actually kind of enjoyed it. We had this discussion again in our text group. I think UBN sort of felt like you did, Joe. But Gabe and I enjoy a good defensive game. And you have to appreciate the way the game, not just the Seahawks, not the way they played. I think, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there too. I'll probably get some pushback on this, and that's okay. But I think the Seahawks defense, the talk of how good they were, just a tinge of, they were really good. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, they weren't the 85 Bears or anything. I mean, come on. How many points did they allow throughout the entire playoffs? And I'm going to go back to Seahawks. Let's see as I do this on live TV. Y'all love when I do this. But I want to call this up because if you look in the playoffs, what they did, of course, they were dominating against the Niners. There's no question. But they gave up 27 points to the Rams. I mean, you give up 27 points. They gave up How many yards did they give up? They gave up 300. They gave up 479 yards to the Rams. Give up 479 yards to the Rams. And Gabe's right. Key stat for the Seahawks, 0 turnovers. You know what that goes to? I'm going to give the man his props. Sam Darnold deserves props. Was he great? He was not great. By any means, he wasn't great. Now, the New England defense was pretty good. Sam Darnold wasn't great. Kenneth Walker was great. And we told you they would be keying on Kenneth Walker. It's why I liked Darnold's over passing yards, because I thought they would key on Walker. They would shut him down. They kind of did early on, but at some point, Kenneth Walker says, I just don't care. And the reason why he was the MVP should have been. Fantastic. Charles says it was one of the worst Super Bowls he's seen. Then you must not have seen very many Super Bowls, because your idea of terrible Super Bowl and mine are two different things. But Gabe's right. You're not the only cranky one. I am definitely. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. My wife is on her way to Panama City to pick up my mother-in-law, who's moving back. She's moving over here, and she'll be close to us, which we're happy about. But she has to go help her move today. Drive to Panama City, and then she's driving right back. So I got up about the same time she got up, and then helped with the kids. So I've been up since 6. Yeah, I'm cranky. A little bit. But look, I enjoyed the game. I got to say, was it the best Super Bowl I ever saw? No, but I think it was better than last year's. It was better than the New Orleans. It was better than Super Bowl 59 with the Eagles. Same thing. Eagles stuffed the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't really stuff Philadelphia. I thought it was a really fantastically played. You might not know it from this score, and because that fourth quarter kind of masked everything. But I thought that the defense was fantastic. By the way, Drake May's performance, his final numbers, to show you how misleading his total numbers are. 27 of 43 for 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The misleading part, his numbers through 3 quarters. 8 of 14 for 60 yards and a fumble. The first 9 possessions for New England: punt, 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 fumble. And that's good defense. So again, misleading numbers, but again, you can't, I had people, I had some, you always got numbnuts, dude. One thing that's good is that I know people are paying more attention to the show because I get a lot more comments from trolls than I ever got before. Sometimes you just want to say to these trolls, like, dude, what is wrong with you? Some of these people, I love when people trash your predictions after you make them. It's one thing like the regulars here say, I don't agree with you because, we had a great conversation Friday from the people who didn't agree with me. Well, I told, like Phil Mariani. He predicted it. Earl's Picks predicted Seattle. Gabe predicted Seattle. If you're on here before and you're giving me crap, saying I don't agree with your pick because of, or even if you say you're a dummy ahead of time, but don't come find me after the fact and tell, you were wrong. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Thank you. And then go on to proceed to just like blast somebody. Would you have told me how right I was if I was right? No. Come on, man. People are just dumb. People are just dumb. Apathy, you're right. A lot of reports. Carr, I think Minnesota is probably the most likely destination. Just goes to show you how bad JJ is, too. Right? JJ we told you he was bad. But also I told you Sam Darnold was bad, so maybe he's not. I still don't think I'm trying not. He was great this year. Okay. I'm going to give him props for the year. But the reason why Seattle is the Super Bowl champion is because Sam Darnold didn't make any mistakes or made few of them. Kenneth Walker is one of the best running backs. Another thing a troll told me, he would rather have Etienne over Kenneth Walker in free agency and then got mad when I told him he was a dummy. Kenneth Walker is not only the best free agent running back that's about to hit the market, he's one of the best running backs in football. I don't care what his numbers are this, that, and the other. I don't care what his numbers are this, that, and the other. I've said this since he got in the league. It's not just that he runs with purpose. Did you see how patient Kenneth Walker was running the football last night? I mean, it just takes a different kind of dude. We talk about instincts and that Drake May wasn't using his instincts last night. Well, Kenneth Walker was the opposite. You want to talk about instincts, to take a couple stutter steps, sometimes 4 or 5 stutter steps before you hit the hole. It takes a really good running back to do that. This gives us Chris Collinsworth compared to Le'Veon Bell. And if you're Le'Veon Bell, you're pretty damn good. You know? Mr. Workman says, good morning. Congrats on season 5. Thank you, sir. Any shot we trade Carr to a decent to above for a decent to above average interior lineman? Probably not. I think it's probably going to be a pick, is what it would be. If I had to guess, I think whoever said it earlier, I think somewhere around 4th round is probably about what it would be. Dylan Smith hated Lindsey Vonn, ended her career like that. Gnarly wreck. Absolutely. It was brutal. Brian Cavitt's here. Good morning. Congrats to Rashid Shaheed. Absolutely. And Anthony Bradford and that New England O-line. Oof. Yeah. Bad, man. What else we got going on here? I'm trying not to be Ron Burgundy. I'm actually reading comments as I go along. I'm trying not to just put them up this morning like I usually do. Lance, you're right. May look bad because the entire playoffs because Campbell got his ass whipped. Well, I mean, you're probably right. Will Anderson made him, Will Anderson's a different kind of player. Will Anderson's an absolute beast. But again, another thing we talked about on Friday. And I said if my New England pick wasn't right, it was going to be because Drake May was going to do what he did in his previous playoff appearances. Drake May has not looked good this entire playoffs, okay? I don't care what his numbers are. I don't know what they are. But the Houston game alone, if CJ Stroud if he only has 3 turnovers instead of 5, the Texans would have been playing the Broncos last weekend or 2 weekends ago. And then who would have won? Probably the Texans because the Broncos didn't have a quarterback. Probably would have been Texans and Seahawks in the Super Bowl had CJ Stroud committed 3 turnovers instead of 5 because Drake May was not good. And then he wasn't very good in the Denver game. Joe D says Drake could have scrambled and taken off a little more. Just one more thing Seattle would have had to defend. Why didn't he? And then you go back to, some people wonder sometimes why Texans Seahawks Super Bowl 1st to 6 wins. Yeah, probably so. If you go back to why, sometimes people talk about why a lot of coaches don't get second chances. I'm all for second chances as far as players, but I don't know if I'm not for a lot of head coaching second chances if they weren't successful the first time. Now, we can go back and debate. We're not going to do that today, but we sometimes debate the DA crap, okay, and why he wasn't a good choice to give a second chance to. But look at Josh McDaniels. He didn't learn anything from yesterday. He did not. I thought the adjustments for the Patriots were almost nil. If you're getting your ass beat over and over again on the left side of the line, well, move away from the left side of the line. You can't fix that in game unless you put another body over there to block, and you really couldn't do that. I didn't understand it. As Joe says that Darnold did manage the game well. He absolutely did. He didn't commit any turnovers. He was pedestrian, 19 of 38 for 202 yards. But you know what changed? The Seahawks, you want to talk about who did adjust? The Seahawks adjusted. The Patriots did not adjust. I mean, of course, they went into pass mode in the fourth quarter when they absolutely had to. But they didn't adjust away from the pressure. And meanwhile, the Seahawks said, you know what? And Nick said this last night in our text thread, and absolutely true. Wasn't it refreshing to see old school football last night? I don't know. In fact, I can look for this. I don't know if anybody went for it on fourth down, except for towards the end when New England had to go for it on any down. What was the fourth down efficiency? No, there were no fourth down attempts last night. Not a single fourth down attempt. Old school football still works, boys and girls. You can hate it all you want, but last night was proof. Old school football is greater than new school stupid shit. It just is. I don't need, here's my suggestion, not that anyone would ever listen to my suggestion if they're running an NFL team. But if you're running an NFL team and you hired some geeky dumbass analyst who knows numbers and is there to tell the coach you're supposed to go for it or do this, fire his ass. Whatever you're paying him, it's too much. All you need is a flip card. This I am for. And it says on top, fourth quarter, the headline says fourth quarter, when to go for two. Because you don't go for two until the fourth quarter, first of all, unless you're just getting your ass kicked and you don't care. Second of all, if you can't figure out the math in your head, like last night, apparently Mike Vrabel is too old school because, what was it, Gabe? It was 19-0. They scored a touchdown. You're supposed to go for two there. Because the theory is, if you get a touchdown, it's 19-8. Now you're down 11. You get another touchdown, it's 19-16. And now you're only down a field goal. And if you don't get the 2-point conversion, which they did on the second try, then the worst thing that happens is, then he went for two in the second try when you're actually not supposed to go for two. That's a whole different story. Whatever. Gabe saying, if I say you should go for two, you really should go for two. I mean, it's common sense. It's simple math. But to me, old school football, the only thing that's different about today is being able to go for it for two. And you only do it in the fourth quarter. It just goes to show. My point proven again. I might not have got the pick part of it right, but old school football freaking works. Earl liked the game. He said it was an awesome game. Total domination on the Seahawks part. I'm going to push back a little bit on total domination because I've seen this all over the place this morning in different places. I don't think you could say it was total domination. And here's why. Again, I think the Patriots defense was outstanding. If you take, and you can't take away, and because I say this all the time, so you can give me grief if you want for what I'm about to say. But pick sixes and fumble, when you pick up a fumble and run it in for a touchdown, scoop and score, whatever you want to call it, those are completely random. Okay. Turnovers aren't necessarily random. You create your own turnovers, but pick sixes and running fumbles back for touchdowns are random. So if you take that one random pick six away, and it was a pick six, not a scoop and score, then it's 22-13 or whatever. I guess that would be the final 22-13. Now it's still a solid victory, whatever. The score is lopsided, and to me, it's also a little bit misleading because through three quarters it was 12-0, and people just completely ignore what the other team's defense did. And in this case, again, the Patriots defense kept themselves in the game, and until Drake May threw that first pick. I'm not talking about the pick six. Until he threw the first pick where he just for some reason decided to chuck it, and the Patriots got themselves back in the game. It was 19-7, and there was still 11 minutes left in the game. And the Patriots seemed to have a little momentum behind their sails. They started moving the football, started to figure things out a little bit. And then for some unknown reason, Drake May just kind of threw it into a three 3-on-1 and he lost. So that's why I don't know that you can necessarily say it was complete domination. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you because the Seahawks deserved to win 29-13, which is what they won by. But again, if you take away that pick six, it's really going to be 22-14 because they're not going to go for two there. And it's a one-score game. So I know if a whiff a shift or whatever. But I think that's also, and if you look at the yardage, by the way, the yardage is dead even. Again, a little misleading. Seattle absolutely deserved to win the football game, but the yardage is 335 to 331. Mitch Bergeron says he gives Carr some slack. He started and ended his career with DA as head coach. He went through 7 head coaches and 7 offensive coordinators in his career. His biggest sin in New Orleans was he wasn't Breeze. Amen. I've said that for years. And people think I'm taking up for Carr when I say that. It's facts. And those are facts. I mean, they simply are. We'll get to Carr in a minute. We're going to talk because I'm about to get into. I'm going to bring Gabe on in a little bit, and we're going to talk about next year's odds. Let's see. Barry says May had a better quarterback rating than Darnold. Both were less than 80. Yes, that is true, but just barely. I mean, they were about the same. However, Sam Darnold didn't do stupid stuff, and Drake May definitely did. Yeah, Dylan, there's no question. Patriots, Rams, that was absolutely worse than this game. And that was, what, a one-possession game in the end. I don't even remember it's like 13-7 or something stupid like that. Shane says, my friend Shane, hello there, my friend. He managed it and did not turn the ball over at all in these playoffs. That's what a really quarterback does. Can't argue with that. I just can't. I can't argue with that. Charles wants to know if he can repeat it next year. I don't know. But I know this. I will. And again, I'm going to defend Darnold here because I've been pretty crappy to him throughout his career. I'm going to give him credit here. I mean, remember, now he choked when he got towards the end of the season with the Vikings, but he did lead the Vikings to a 14-3 season, and now he's led the Seahawks to a 14-3 season and a Super Bowl victory. So in back-to-back regular seasons, even with my limited Shaw math skills, I could tell you that's 28-6. Pretty damn good. So I'm certainly not going to say that he can. By the way, we didn't even talk about this, but yeah, Lance, you're right. It was made official last night. We talked about it last week that Clint Kubiak talking about may steal Rashid to Vegas. We'll see where Rashid Shaheed goes as a free agent, but we didn't even talk about that. Kubiak is officially the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders today. Kyle Sherman says hindsight's 20/20 and all, but after the fourth punt, you were waiting for McDaniels to shuffle the game plan. I think it was poor game plan with lack of adjustments until it was too late. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. Ryan Ashe says Walker's issues have always been his health. I think he's pretty healthy this year, though, wasn't he? How many games did he? I know he missed a couple games. We'll see. What were his stats this year? As we do this on live TV. No, he didn't miss a game. Played all 17 games this year. Now he missed in 2024. He missed 6 games. But I mean, I wouldn't say that health is a major issue. He only missed the year before that. He missed 3. Year before that, he missed 3. That's not really. I don't know. Wouldn't scare me off. That's for sure. I mean, I guess it would maybe take someone. It would scare someone off. That wouldn't scare me off. Mark Gapsky is dying here to Saints odds to win the NFC South. Okay, we're going to get to it in just a minute, I promise. Only a few more minutes of talking about the Super Bowl. I'm pretty close to done. Let's see. Barry, Patriots O-line gave up 10 sacks in the final 2 games. That's too many. That's way too many. I mean, they were 1 off the record in this one. You know? Oh, yeah, Ryan, you're right. You're not the only one that was excited about that Kenneth Walker 15-plus yard run cash. And there's somebody in the green room that was pretty excited about it. Although he didn't really bet it. He just got it right on the show. He did, if I'm not mistaken, he did not drive to Lake Charles to make a bet. I'll ask him in a minute. Let's see. Hemisphere says, in his opinion, the drive that pretty much told him the mindset of the New England coaching staff was in the third quarter. It was 4th and 1 somewhere near the 50-yard line. They punted it to Seattle instead of going for it. You know what? Speaking of live TV, I think that might be a little. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Let's see. They punted on 4th and 3 at their own 39. They punted on 4th and 1 at their own 41. You're not going to go for it ever there. It's 4th and 1 at your own 41 with 7:34 to go in the third quarter, and you're down 12-0. And you're 0.0 times going for it there. Sorry, Hemisphere. I know you like new football, and I'm not giving you grief. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm just going to stress what I've said. Old football beats the ever-loving hell out of new football. It just does. It just does. All right. Gabe, you ready? Bring Gabe on here. All right. As we talk a little bit about odds. Good morning, my friend. You did not Lake Charles, by the way, right?
No, I didn't.
Before we talk about odds, let me tell everybody for the last time this season. Kind of sad to say that. We told you we'll let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business may be worth, whether it's time to sell. How did they do it? Forget all the other questions about Drake May. That's the best question of the day. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanian Nick Brayton and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, well, they're the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and 0.0. That's right. Roll them. 0.0 with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick Brayton about what's really important. And ain't about Super Bowl 60. Tell them what's really important, Gabe Henderson.
The rest of your life.
That's what you've won, boys and girls. The rest of your life. Get in touch with them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Okay. Glad Gabe's back. And Lance, I am so jealous. You're on your third piece of king cake, you son of a bitch. You know, I'm on a diet, okay? And this, you want to know here, Gabe, the number one thing that sucks about the Super Bowl last night for me, definitely not for Charles. Charles just thought it sucked anyway. But here's what sucks about the GD Super Bowl. When you're on a diet, you know what you eat for snacks, Gabe? Just take a guess.
Fruit.
Strawberries, blueberries, pistachios. I did eat like 6 Cheez-Its, and I had a couple of rice cakes. You son of a bitch, Lance. Anyway, I'm all right now. But that's what happens when you're on your third. Why'd you go eat a 4th piece of king cake? Bastard. All right. I'm all right now. I tell you
that's what you're really fired up about this morning.
That's what I'm really fired up this morning. Yeah. All
right.
right.
I don't mean to stick all the rioters on me. I'm not a big king cake guy. I'm not a huge cinnamon guy in general. So
you don't like cinnamon?
I'm not a huge. It's not that I don't like it. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Oh,
I'll eat
man.
it. It's just
I love me some king cake. I'm a connoisseur, as the what is it in the Christmas Story when he's Ralphie's a turkey connoisseur. I'm a king cake connoisseur, baby. Hakeem, big dog, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, I want you to make sense of something for me, okay? As we talk about, and I did not make a slide for this, I should have. But
I know what you're talking about.
You know what? I'll go to this slide instead for the moment.
But before you get there, Earl brought up this comment. I'm craving king cake so bad, but I just can't pay the $60 to get one here. I actually have a good friend who, once he left college, he went to Louisiana Tech. He's been in the South all of his life. After college, he got a job that took him to Ohio. That man paid a couple $100 to get some king cakes from his favorite shop in Louisiana shipped up to him. So.
I will say that, again, I am riding in the crew of Endymion on Saturday, and there ain't no diet Saturday. Whatever it is whatever it is. I haven't had a drink in probably 6 months. Not because of any other reason. Not because I'm addicted to drinking. I'm not. Or whatever. I just haven't. I'm not a big drinker, but I do on special occasions. So I will drink whatever the hell I want on Saturday, and I will absolutely eat king cake on Saturday. Phil says, go to Kroger's and get some Gambino. They have Kroger's there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do they have king cakes at Kroger's?
Maybe. They might now. I don't shop at Kroger. I'm an HEB guy.
All right. UBN says he doesn't like Saints king cake or crawfish. What the hell is he doing here? Well, I know when you're retired, you won't be here. So there you go. You'll be doing this part of the show from somewhere else. All right. That is the king cake. I am officially desiring king cake now as we wrap up this season. All right. I want you to make something make sense for me as we shift into the odds portion of the show. We told you, and I know Mark Gatsky couldn't wait till we got to this point of the show. We told you we would tell you what the Saints odds are next year. Now, if you're wanting to go out and bet them, I would go to FanDuel, as Gabe alerted me last night. The Saints at FanDuel, and to show you how different odds are at different places right now, they'll probably come close to. Now's the time to bet some of these things.
They haven't moved. I've confirmed right now. I got them pulled up. The
Saints are plus 17,500, which means they are 175 to 1. Now, I told Gabe this last night. I had already made a $10 bet at DraftKings because that's really where my money was. I did cash out. I had a profitable season. I cashed out, but I left enough to bet $10 on the Saints at plus 10,000. So at DraftKings, they're 100 to 1, which means if the Saints win the Super Bowl, I get $100 from, $1,000 from my DraftKings bet. Okay. But when Gabe told me about FanDuel, I went and looked. Let me see if I have any money left in that account because I haven't used it forever. Because I had cashed out. I don't know why I cashed out. I think I left enough to bet on something, and then it left me with 70 cents. Okay. I bet 70 cents on the Saints to win the Super Bowl. And where is it? Let me see. I'll put it in the other. It's in the other one.
Are you trying to figure out what it won?
Yeah, it will win.
$123.
$123 on a 70-cent bet at DraftKings. That means you got to go over there and do it. See,
when I saw that last night,
account.
When I saw that last night, I checked the other books just to be sure because I know Jim's preferred book is DraftKings. So I went and I looked and I saw 100 to 1 and I was like, no. You have to go to FanDuel because they have the 4th worst odds on the market, which is unbelievable. There is no world in which the Tennessee Titans and Las Vegas Raiders should have better odds than the Saints to win the Super Bowl. But 17,500. Incredible.
That's
odds.
Crazy. It is. Kyle Sherman says he used to send king cakes to all his offices and sent Mardi Gras YouTube music channel on Mardi Gras Day. After he retired, they all still ask for you. No, they all still clamor for king cakes. They most certainly do. Phil tells everyone Gambino's available at all Kroger's in the Houston metro area. And Ron Hendrickson said where he lives, the only king cake. Oh, I'm sorry. He says the only king cake he will not buy is sold in Walmart. Dreadful. Oh, God.
Understandable.
If I hadn't had a king cake in 5 years, I don't think I would buy one from Walmart, my friend. Oh, no.
So, that is my That's one of my biggest tips. I tweeted it last night. It's still the same price, remarkably. Skip your morning coffee tomorrow. Put $5 on the Saints to win the Super Bowl. And what does it return?
$5.
Like 800.
You know what coffee costs these days, pal?
I know. You return $875. It's unlikely, but in the event that they do it, that is an incredible price.
Bart, I love you for being a regular. Bart Prudhomme says if they scored touchdowns instead of field goals, and the touchdown that's called back along with other points, his score of 49-13 would have hit. And if never mind. If
my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
The famous.
That's not exactly the way I was going to put it, Gabe. But something about ants and
uncles.
I
know what you're thinking. Decided to keep it PG today.
Yeah, well, somewhat, but yes. So, again, you got to give the Patriots defense a whole lot of credit. All right, so here's what I want you to make sense of something because I'm never good at this. All right, so the Saints are 100-1 to win the Super Bowl. They are tied with, this is at DraftKings, by the way. They are tied with the Carolina Panthers, who are also 100-1. The Atlanta Falcons, who everyone knows is never going to win a Super Bowl because they can't hold a 28-3 lead. They are not going to win a Super Bowl. Now Matt Ryan's gone back, and we know what Matt Ryan does in December and in Super Bowls, and he chokes. Doesn't have to be on the field to choke. Just choke. So the Atlanta Falcons are 80-1. Do not waste your money. I don't care if you cut it out if you want.
No,
but here's what I don't,
especially because you're cutting Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, well, we didn't even talk about that. Here's what I want you to make sense of. Okay, this morning they put up division odds. Okay, and Phil says he does not work at Kroger, so his endorsement of Kroger is not because he works there. The odds to win the NFC South next year. Okay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are basically even money, just they're the same as they were last year, plus 120. They are plus 4,000, by the way, which is almost the same as they were last year to win the Super Bowl. I think it was a little less than that. But here's the thing that gets me. Second place to win the NFC South. Well, you would think of it, it's Atlanta. They're second place in odds at 80-1. No. Second place to win the NFC South is the New Orleans Saints at plus 350. What a low number, by the way. That just goes to show you what the odds makers think of the NFC South. They're 100-1 to win the Super Bowl, but they're only 3.5-1 to win the NFC South. The Falcons are plus 370. The Falcons are plus 400. Explain to me why the Saints have worse odds than the Falcons and Panthers to win the Super Bowl when they're tied with the Panthers and are behind the Falcons in Super Bowl odds.
The only reason that I could think of is they looked at how Tyler Shuck performed against the NFC South to end the season and thought it would be more likely that they win the division, but the other teams stack up better against the top dogs in the conference. I'm not sure. That's the only explanation that I have.
I thought that was I think that's super weird. So anyway, I know when we come back, maybe not the show that we come back, but early on when we come back, and I have not asked him yet, so don't put this in the book, but usually our first guest of the season is usually Mike Detillier. So I will ask him if he can do it, if he's not on vacation or something, because it's right after Mardi Gras. But that's something I would ask him as well. But we will be doing a show, whether it's that first Wednesday when we come back, probably won't be the first Monday when we come back. I don't know, whatever it is. We will have our early season 6 show on odds and tell you all of them. But to me, there are some values in here. I mean, I know you looked through here, and you may, by the way, if you're wondering, the Seahawks are the favorites to win Super Bowl 61. Almost, not every year, but almost always. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, they're the favorites. They're early favorites to win the Super Bowl next year. They are actually tied. The Seahawks and Rams are tied as favorites. They are both at plus 950, 9.5-1. The Bills are 11-1. The Eagles are 13-1. Patriots also 13-1. Ravens 13-1. Interesting.
I'm not betting that.
Don't put any money on that. Packers 14-1. I don't think there's enough value there. Lions at 14-1. Definitely not value. Chargers 15-1. Chiefs maybe at 15-1. Will they come back?
It's the longest odds the Chiefs have had since 2018 to open up.
I kind of like that. I know what some people are going to like in this crowd here. Mark was hoping to get the Saints at 5-1 or better for the South.
Here's my advice to you, Mark. Wait until FanDuel drops their division odds. Those still aren't out. They only have conference odds right now, and I believe the Saints at FanDuel are plus 8,000 to win the NFC. Wait until FanDuel drops their odds, because if they have them priced like that for the Super Bowl in the NFC, I bet you can probably get them at 5-1.
Yeah, Gabe's right. They only have conference odds, and they also have a few little draft odds, nothing
they have
special.
One draft odd.
Okay, so
there's no value in that market. I looked at it last night, actually. Different markets have different caps. The most money that you can put down on a player to be selected number 1 is $25,000. And if you put $25,000,
get your head examined
on Fernando Mendoza to be drafted number 1 overall, you win $350.
Give me a break. You're an absolute. You're dumber than the trolls who were commenting on my short from yesterday after the fact.
My favorite thing is when people bet stuff like that. Like,
25,000, you win what? 25,000, you win what?
$350.
So if you
roughly.
So in other words, if you bet $250, you would win $3.
Stand by.
I mean, I'm just moving the decimal point.
Yeah.
$3.50.
I'll tell you exactly. So if you $250, you said,
if you need $3.50 that bad, dude.
You win for $250, you win $3.57.
You know, I actually like to see the people on social media who say they've been doing those kind of bets for years, and then they get absolutely it only takes one time getting
it only takes one
smoked.
And you're
if
screwed.
You get absolutely smoked on a bet like that, you never know what's going to from now to the draft. So many different things. Fernando Mendoza could be walking down a street in New York City, fall flat on his face, and bust his face all up, and he doesn't get picked first. Obviously says the Jets should get special odds at 1 with a lot of zeros to 1. A bazillion. The Jets odds are 0.0.
Yes.
Aptly says it's a bazillion to 1. There you go. Some other value spots before we get to. I want to talk about Carr for a second. Sorry, Lance.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners might be a value at 17 to 1, maybe. And I know a lot of people in this chat will think the Denver Broncos will be a value. I'm not putting any money on them, but you might want to. They are 18 to 1. Gabe's Texans 20 to 1. Jags 22 to 1. The Cincinnati Bengals, will they get healthy? Not with that coach, 25 to 1.
If I'm looking for value on these boards, one thing I really like right now, so I'll give you a value. Do you want me to give you a value just quickly for I'll give you value for Super Bowl division winner and then MVP.
Okay.
I really like, in terms of value for the Super Bowl, I like the Bears at
I did too.
plus
I was getting ready to get Bears plus 2,500, 25 to 1. I don't necessarily think the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl, but if you want, I can tell you right now, I would be very surprised if the Bears aren't in the mix to be one of the top 4 seeds next year and to win the division. If they're not, I'm not going to say they're going to win the division, but they could be in the mix, and at 25 to 1, that's a good number.
Yeah, they're also plus 350 to win the North. I actually don't hate taking a flyer on the Vikings. It's 7 to 1 to win the division. Given
Derek Carr,
I was going to say almost a perfect transition into Derek Carr.
You're going to piss him off.
That's not the pick that I like the most, but that is a pick that I like.
They're also 60 to 1 to win this. Would that be some shit? If Derek Carr went to the Vikings, because they're really pretty talented. If they had a decent quarterback this year, their defense is okay. It's not great. It's okay. But they have a lot of offensive weapons. Their line's not bad. If Derek Carr, could you imagine what this crowd would do? It'd be pretty funny. I'm just saying.
So in terms of division, one play that I actually really like.
Just gotta show it. Just gotta put it up there. Just gotta put it up there.
I kind of like the Steelers at plus 425 to win the North.
I can't do it. They're plus 6,000.
I'm not going to bet it either because that price will probably go down. But
I can't do it.
They've got a really good defense.
They can't bet on Derek Carr. He's getting. Alex is going get another slice of pancake. You need to show a picture. I don't know. Can we put pictures in the chat?
No.
I don't know. Ryan wants to know, wouldn't we think Cousins goes back to Minnesota over Carr?
I wouldn't
doubt
think
it.
so because it's a different staff. But if they can't land Carr, then I think that's definitely somewhere they would go.
Besides that, I know he's coming off a surgery, but Carr's younger. What is Cousins going to be? 37?
37, I think.
He's going to be 38 when the season's.
Okay.
I don't want to. Sorry, I don't know that anyone's going to sign Kirk Cousins to be a starter.
They will. Oh,
you think so? Be a starter? Someone will sign him, but I don't think they're going to sign him to be a starter.
I don't know. There's some really quarterback needy team. This is the perfect year for these veterans, guys like Malik Willis, Kirk Cousins. They're going to get signed to get starting jobs. I don't hate someone like the Raiders signing Cousins to mentor Mendoza.
Yeah. Jason, let me put this quick comment up because I think this is an interesting comment. Jason Benson said he's going to go back to the Raiders and be the guy Mendoza sits behind, like Tyler Shuck was supposed to. I don't see Kubiak wanting anything to do with Carr. I don't think he and Carr saw eye to eye.
I don't think Derek Carr would come back to be a mentor to a number 1 overall pick. I think he wants to be the guy. I also don't think the Raiders are going to sit the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't. It's a lot different. Tyler Shuck was the 40th pick of the draft. He's. UBN says if Carr won the Super Bowl, he would dance on Bourbon Street with a Carr jersey on in 20-degree weather. He's full of crap. He's
put
lying.
That into the chat.
You would not do that. You are full of crap. You wouldn't do anything.
You cannot delete that now.
Yeah, he's so full of crap. He would. Hey, Shador lovers, Cleveland Browns are plus 15,000, baby. And how about the goddamn Jets? They are plus 20,000.
And as much as it pains me to say this, giving my another value bet for MVP after the season he had this year.
That's not out yet.
What? MVP?
MVP's out?
Yeah. Under it's
next year's MVP. Sure, yeah, it sure is. It's under awards. You're right. I didn't say it. All right, go ahead. Who you got?
I kind of like the value on Trevor Lawrence.
Oh God, no.
Plus 2,000.
No, I'd rather vote for Carr.
I kind of like the value 1,000. There. Liam Cohen schemed a really good offense.
What about Mahomes or Burrow at plus 1,000?
I mean, I had Mahomes MVP futures this year, so you're going to give me a better price next year. I'll take that.
I don't know. Charles says, "Don't say Darnold." I'm not going to say Darnold. I'm not betting Darnold. What is Darnold, by the way?
No, I'm not betting.
Darnold is 20. Or was it 2,800? Okay, yeah. He's way down there. He's tied with Baker Mayfield.
He's not a guy who puts up a ton of stats.
Right.
It's not what he's asked to do. And I think he's playing the perfect role right now. I thought he played well last night, all things considered. He didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah. K-Man says there is a reason there is, quote, value on the long-haired blonde.
Top 5 in MVP voting this year. Trust me, you won't find a guy who dislikes Trevor Lawrence as an NFL quarterback as much as me.
That's true. You really won't.
But Liam Cohen schemed an incredible offense for him this year.
Kind of did. Kind of right.
Good to end the year.
All right. Well, we're about to close out our season here. We're going to do it like this. If anybody has anything else to say before we take a two. By the way, real quick, if you would like to support this channel, we would so much appreciate it. Especially if you're a regular and you come back. Again, when we come back, the regulars' names, we're going to have you across the bottom of the screen. We're going to have you in a crawl across. I'm going to change up some of these graphics. They will not be nearly as intrusive. They're going to be a lot smaller. I think what I'm going to do is I'll have a left rail on the left side of the screen. Will be an open spot to where whatever type I want to put will be over there. And then the rest of the screen will just be our beautiful mugs, and then at the bottom we'll have a crawl. So I think that's what's going to happen. We'll see.
But before we go, Charles said to game manager. I feel people say that negative connotation now. There's nothing wrong with that. If some of the other teams, like as a Texans fan, if we had a game manager like Darnold, we would have been in the Super Bowl last night.
Probably would have.
It's not a bad thing. And
I
Daryl
mean,
said he played a lot like Trent Dilfer. He didn't play a lot like Trent Dilfer because he was a lot better than Trent Dilfer.
I don't know, but here's the thing. You know what? I don't care if he played like Trent Dilfer. Who cares? The point is the coaching, they put him in that position to do, he knew what he couldn't do, and he didn't do it, if that makes any sense. So I'm not, again, I've been as critical of Darnold as anyone. And he did exactly what he needed to do to win. You know what I mean?
Cover your ears, UBN. Jimmy GQ was a great game manager.
Let's say you had to do that, really. I mean, come on, man.
I'm just saying that they get you to Super Bowls. Like Alex Smith, a great game manager in his career.
By the way,
Trent guys who really
Trent Dilfer in the Super Bowl 35, he was not as good as his rating was just a tinge better. But his numbers in the Super Bowl were 12 of 25 for 153 yards and a touchdown. And like Kenneth Wall, you want to talk about old school. Jamal Lewis ran the ball 27 times for 102 yards. Touchdown. They don't do that anymore. What's the record this year? What's the most carries in a 2025 NFL game? Let's see if Gemini can tell me. It is Derek Henry with 36.
That was that the game against
it's against Green Bay.
Oh no, it was Green Bay.
Oh, that's when Lamar Jackson was out, right?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson was out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
that's
Green
why,
Bay. And
that's
he had
why.
like the 4 touchdown game that absolutely screwed my pick. Yeah.
Wow. Let's see some of there aren't hardly any. I mean, you just go by. I'm not going to do it. That's it. So
you don't have
I'm
any
not
Frank
going to waste
Gore
people's.
Guys who just
there's not many Frank Gores.
Even Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker was only a bell cow, and the Charbonnet got hurt. They split carries a lot.
Yeah, but he played in 17 games. All right, what else you got for me? As we, I think Derek Carr actually can be. I don't think I joke about the Super Bowl, but if he goes to Minnesota, I think Minnesota instantly becomes like a 9 or 10 win team. Just saying.
I think 9 or 10 would be the floor for them.
Just saying. Very well could. We got a couple more comments here. A-Town says, no cliffhangers. You will be at the Endymion Extravaganza. Well, then maybe I'll tell you what. You give me your number. Find me on X or jim@jimderry.com and we can exchange numbers and I'll come find you and we'll say hello. I would love to meet you in person, A-Town. Jason Benson says that the Saints can get that running game up and going. They're going to be a way dangerous next year. Imagine if the defense takes another step forward. Chuck could very well be in the MVP combo. Call you crazy. I'm not going to call you crazy, but I certainly wouldn't bet that. Let's see if Tyler Shuck's on the. Yep, Tyler Shuck is on this list. If you want to bet it, Jason, at DraftKings right now, Tyler Shuck is 100-1 to be the MVP next year. Jimmy Rose is here. Good morning. Thank you, Jimmy, for being with us. I'm glad you can make it.
Interestingly enough, Tyler Shuck has the same odds as Malik Willis, which I think almost confirms what I said a little bit ago, that Malik Willis is going to sign for someone to be a starter. Yeah. I'm not saying it's correct in the fact that they should have the same odds. I'm just telling you what those odds indicate.
Yeah. Lance is screaming. He wants to get it in before we go off for 2 weeks. Jeremiah Love, I hear you. No excuses. I mean, he could be gone by then. So that would be an excuse. Yeah. Okay. So going forward, as we talk about what's coming up here after we take a little hiatus. And again, to tell everyone out there, we're going to take a 2-week respite. We will not be gone completely. I'm going to have plenty of shorts. I've got about 4 or 5 of them already kind of lined up in the queue. And I will intersperse them throughout the next 2 weeks. So even though I'm not going to be here, I'm only really taking off 5 days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Other than that, I will be working. Even tomorrow, I'm going to be working.
And we'll be in the Slack channel.
We will be in the Slack channel. All members, if you're a member of the Dattitude YouTube page, you have access to our Slack channel. We will be in there talking to one another throughout my time off. The season 6 premiere will be on 2 weeks from today, Monday, February the 23rd, back here at 11 a.m. By the way, I never even told you this, but I'd like to this is something to think about. But going forward, I'm contemplating moving the time of the show back to like early afternoon. I don't know. And the reason for that is because I am going to start. I don't know that I'm going to start this by the time the season starts, but I'm going to do something called Morning Dat. And it's going to be, hello, Quo. Thank you so much for being a regular. Have a great Mardi Gras. You too as well, my friend. I'm going to start something called Morning Dat, and it's basically going to be the things that I talk about early part of the show, which not necessarily locally related. Sometimes it will be, sometimes it won't. But it'll be whatever the biggest news of the day was from the day before, maybe nationally. Maybe something happened in a game. Maybe there was like the James Pierce news, and I will give you my 6 to 8 minute take on it. It'll be recorded. And then I will also give you this date in sports history and maybe a couple of birthdays. So we're going to start doing that. So maybe a 12 or 14 minute daily show in the morning, and I will record that either in the morning or in the evening. Also, before we come back, Gabe and I are working on what we are going to give members. And I know one thing that we're going to give them when I get to a certain number, I think we're at like 16 or 17 right now. When I get to like 30 members, I'm going to send out some Dattitude merch to people. So I will ask for addresses. All the people who are the higher tier, you're all going to get Dat merch at some point in the near future. And then if we get enough members in the long term, I'll send merch to everyone. Would love to send every member maybe a 0.0 shirt. That's coming soon. But we're gonna figure out how to do merch coming up.
Just to appease everyone's wishes, UBN has been banging the show the standings drum in the comments. And
okay. I'm sorry, I forgot. And I made a slide for it. Here it is. Final. I don't know why he wants me to show it so much. He didn't win. Gabe won, and I don't know why he would want to show it because we're all kind of, embarrassingly mediocre after we had such a great start. And the crew, this is how an entire season, okay? Let's see, 64 and 64 and 63. So even with my limited Shaw math skills, I could tell you that is 191 picks against the spread that we made this year. 100 and we finished one game over 500, and had the Kenneth Walker touchdown not been called back, we would have finished one game under 500. Just goes to show you how close to 500 we were. Dude, 34 and 30, it's not great.
That's
not great.
In terms of betting, it's hard to do that. I will give him credit. It's 53%. Over an entire season.
You have to go at least 54% to win money.
Mm-hmm.
So he lost money. I'm not trying to give you grief, but that's not great. We need to define. We need to like go. Okay, if you want to say it's good, okay, I'll give you good. It's not great. It's definitely not great, especially with considering where we were. Just saying.
It doesn't even. I feel yucky winning this.
Yeah, with that point differential. Yeah. Let's see. I tell you what, before we go,
that's why I was so
going into the last week of the regular season. Where were we? Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, while you look that up, that's why I was so invested in that Kenneth Walker. Whether I got a point.
Yeah, UBN going into the last week of the regular season, UBN, you were 28 and 20. So from the last week of the regular season to the through the Super Bowl, you were 4 games under. You were really good before then. Just saying. Earl says it's mid. Now, a lot of my picks I made money this year, but only because I think UBN made money too. You didn't bet a whole lot because you don't live in an area where you can bet.
I placed a couple $100 of futures before the season, and I'm not going to say doubled my profits, but I almost doubled my profits. I had a good year.
I didn't bet nearly as much this year as I normally do, but I will say that I cashed out for double what I put in the beginning. So I would call that now a lot of it was from the past couple weeks, and I actually won money yesterday because my biggest bet of the day was by far was on UBN's. I thought you made money this year. So anyway, we finished one game over 500, and we're happy with it. So, yeah. All right, final thoughts as we move on and close out season number 5. And you've been with this is your 3rd season with me or 2nd? I can't. I know you were with me all of last year, and I think you were with me part of the year. I think it's 2.5. You've been with me about half the time. You came in season 3. You started helping out.
So
Adam Varner, you're here. Good morning.
I'll officially have been part of the show longer than I hadn't been.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So we'll see what happens. Announcements of what's coming up for the season 6 premiere. As we get closer, I'll let y'all know. It probably won't be that might actually be a Detillier day if I can get him that day. Also, I'm going to start doing some different things coming up in season 6. I also want to expand the show to not just talk about sports. It's going to mostly, it's still going to be 70% Saints. Okay, let's be real. Especially when we get close to the draft, we'll talk about the Saints probably. When the season starts, it's not going to be any different. But in the off season, I want to have some guests that might not necessarily be sports related, like maybe some local legends or some even national people that you might know. So I'm going to expand the show. Episode number 500 is going to be a fun one. I don't even know who it's going to be yet, but we're going to work on somebody. It's going to be season number 500 is going to be special. Season number 500 is going to be special. Yeah. It's season number 500. See, I won't be here for season 500, but episode number 500 will be special for sure. Rocky
episode 500
it will not be members. It will not be members.
Show.
Not going to be members. David Herman did good yesterday. Took Seattle. Congratulations,
there you go.
Everybody that won yesterday. Congratulations. Look, the good thing about the Super Bowl, it's really the only day that I bet other stuff. So I didn't put anything on the spread yesterday. And the reason why I didn't put anything on the spread is I told you all this before. I had futures that I didn't really invest that much in on New England at 8-1, and I didn't need to bet on New England. So I just kind of let it ride. There really wasn't any way to hedge. I was hoping for a live way to hedge, and there wasn't. So I really like the under. I said that in my short. That was my favorite bet of the day. So that's where I won. And I did bet a few props, and none of them hit. So under was strong. Let's see.
No. You can't show Adam's comment without reading the rest.
I'm going to go back to it. Father Steve says he's ready for the Cubs. Adam says Shuck really seems to mesh with Nola. If you're here for season 500, you need to know what I put in my coffee. But you won't be here to find out. So how would you know? I mean,
he put a miracle in his coffee.
A-Town, you're absolutely A-Town. Next season, I need the dumbass alert sound. You know what? Let's see if is there anything in here that we could potentially use for a dumb? I'm trying to see. Feeding the ducks. No. What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
I don't even know what you're doing.
What about this? No, that's not going to work. What about this? There you go.
Gong. Need the Benny Hill theme song.
That was UBN. I mean, when we started talking about Jimmy G.
Hey, I'll give it to him. He's a good-looking dude.
We're completely going off the rails here as we end the season.
We wouldn't want to end the season any other way.
Oh yeah, long duck dong.
Going off the rails is what we do best.
Who knows what I'm talking about? Long duck dong. 16 Candles, baby.
It's a great movie.
Movie reference of the day. It is a fantastic movie. All right, when you're done with albums and CDs, you can do movies.
No, I'm not a big movie guy.
I'm a huge
really not a big. But 16 Candles is a classic that I was shown early in life.
Right.
So. What's happening hot stuff is not in my vocabulary.
What's happening hot stuff? I mean, come on, you gotta love that. I mean, it's good stuff. All right, we have completely gone off the rails. I will see you 2 weeks from today for the season 6 premiere, and we will absolutely have some kind of dumbass of the week emoji, confetti, whatever it is. I can't wait to give it to somebody. I wish these dummy trolls would actually come on. They don't come on the show anymore. They just leave messages after the fact. It's not nearly.
There
as
was
fun.
one today.
Okay. I didn't feel the need to give a dumbass of the week. Find a clip of Red from that 70s show.
Red
Okay.
Foreman, yeah. Red Foreman, put up your ass clip.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your time off.
Yeah.
It'll be the same as my time off. And happy Mardi Gras, even though it's not really Mardi Gras in Houston. But
likewise.
All right, everybody. Yeah. The price is wrong, bitch. I guess I could do that. What else could we do? Y'all gonna miss me? Lance says, hit that like button, baby. Hit that. If you have not subscribed, you don't have to be a member. At least subscribe to the show. Give us a thumbs up, a like. I think I pissed a couple people off over the weekend with my prediction because I lost a couple. Sorry. Didn't mean to piss off. Thank you, Brian. I will enjoy it. And go Pels, Charles said. Yes, I saw all the rain for Endymion, and it is forecast to be nasty. That's why I'm glad the forecast is on Monday. Hopefully it'll get better. If it is going to storm like it's being predicted, I hope they do early what they have done in the past. I don't necessarily want to ride behind Bacchus, but I don't want to ride in the rain either. So there's that. We'll see what happens. All right. That is going to wrap it up. That is going to wrap up season 5. I thank you all so very much. All the regulars, whether you're a member or whether you're just here every day, which is a lot of you on both ends. We have grown leaps and bounds. Most of you know, the new people, you might not all know, but I became an independent as I was released from the mothership on Halloween last year. And I didn't know how I was going to go. I didn't know if we were going to be able to make it. We had our first show as an independent on Monday, November the 3rd. And if you would have asked me, I didn't even do a poll question today, but if you would have gave me a poll question, he said, what are your odds that you will still be here on February the 9th, 2026? I would have probably said 60-40. That's what I probably would have said. I don't know, maybe 70-30. It definitely wasn't 100.0, tell you that. But we're still here. And a big part of the reason why you're still here is, my friend Nick Braden, who, again, came along at Evangeline Securities to help be the title sponsor. Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other since we were teenagers. Been a good friend of mine, and he's helped out the show. There are some other people that either are going to help out in the show in the near future, or who have told me they're interested. So I know we will have some more sponsors in season 6, but I just want to take this last opportunity here in the season 5 finale, final moments to say thank you to all of you. Whether you watched one show or you watched or listened to 474 of them, we can't do it without you. So click the little bell to receive notifications when we go in the air. Tell your friends about Dattitude. If they watch and they don't want to, if they can't, like, who is this ass clown? Fine, great, whatever. You don't have to subscribe. But if your friends, they might just not know I'm here. We would love for you to spread the word, spread the cheer. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. We will see you all on Monday, February the 23rd. Everyone have a safe, wonderful, glorious Mardi Gras. All you members, I will give you information on what float I'm on if you want to come tell me hello. We will see you all on the other side. Take it easy, my friends.